It all started when my son, Tim, came down with a high fever that lasted for 3 days. My wife, Lily, was away, taking care of another family's child she was a nanny for. I was rushing back home from a trip when she called me, her voice full of frustration. "What's the big deal about me feeding my employer's child?" she yelled. "I'm just working. Can't you stop being so sensitive? We've been married for 7 years, and we always argue about this." In the past, I would have just given in. I used to think I was overreacting and that she was just trying to keep a job she worked hard to get. But I had reached my limit. If she wanted to be a nanny around the clock, maybe she shouldn't even bother coming home. The call from my neighbor came just as my father was finally falling asleep in his hospital bed. "David, what's going on at your house? Your son is so young," he said, his voice urgent. He came to my door with a high fever. Wendy was breathless. I could hear noise and car horns in the background. "I took him to the hospital. You need to get back here, quick." The call ended abruptly. I tried to call Lily, but she didn't answer. I called her twice more, with no luck. I knew she always had her phone with her, so I started to worry even more. Thankfully, my mother had come back to help, and our friends were there to look after my dad, so I rushed home. I just wanted to get to my kid and my wife to make sure they were okay. As I got to our apartment complex, my mom called. She was already at the hospital and told me to check on Lily. "The kid passed out," she said. How could she do this as a mom? But my wife was nowhere to be found at our home. After my 12th call to her went unanswered, I began asking everyone I saw in the complex if they'd seen her. "Have you seen this person?" I asked, showing them a picture of Lily on my phone. "She called me last night," I explained. A few people shook their heads. Just as I was about to call the police to report her missing, a woman from the courier station who had argued with my wife stopped me. "You mean Lily?" she said. "She went over to bother that married guy again." She described my wife as all dolled up like a ghost. She was talking about Lily's employer, Philip, a man who was also married and whom my wife had a crush on. My worry turned into a deep feeling of helplessness. She had been like this ever since Tim was born. As soon as her 1-month recovery period was over, she spent all her time at Philip's place. She wouldn't even breastfeed our son or change his diapers. If I ever suggested she spend more time with our son, she would get angry and start breaking things. "Your mom wanted me to have this kid," she would yell. "Why should I have to take care of him after he's born? You're out of line." But it wasn't my mom who had pushed for a grandchild. Lily had failed her public service exam twice, and her freelancing work wasn't going well. Philip had helped her out by hiring her as a nanny, but her pay was still very low. Mom had been worried about gossip, so she had suggested Lily stay home, pretending to prepare for a pregnancy. Thinking about all this, I rushed to Philip's house and stormed in. "Philip, you gotta see this," I heard Lily say. "He puckers after he eats." Lily was holding a boy about the same age as my son, and she was breastfeeding him even though he didn't need it anymore. I held in my anger. "You left our son alone to nurse someone else's kid," I said. "What do you mean, someone else?" Lily asked, frowning. She pulled her top down and snapped at me. "Philip's an old classmate," she shouted. "Could I have stayed in the nanny game without him?" Her shouting scared the kid she was holding, and he started to cry loudly. "Calm down, Lily. David's just worried about the kid," Philip said, walking in. He looked like he was watching his love being torn away from him as he saw Lily holding the crying boy. "You should go with him to the hospital," he said. "I'll take care of Mike. Don't worry." My wife reluctantly handed over the child, giving me a dirty look as she slammed the door on her way out. She walked back home silently, but quickly. "What are you doing? The kid is still in the hospital," I said, my voice full of frustration. "I have no energy left for this argument." "I'm going home. What else?" Lily asked, turning to me with a sarcastic smile when she saw my tense face. Come on, David. Claiming the kid has a fever just to check on me? Is this because you don't trust me? Her contempt was a hard blow. I had always said I didn't want her working as a nanny, but I never stopped her from going out, even at night. Now she thought I was using our son's safety as an excuse to test her trust. This was the woman I had shared my life with for 7 years. I didn't know what to say. My thoughts were interrupted by my mom calling, thankfully. My mom was at the hospital, and any nurse there could confirm it. Even though I offered her the phone, she slapped it out of my hand. The phone hit the ground and cracked. Lily didn't even look at it. Philip's kid is only 2 and has never been weaned. As their nanny, why can't I help? She shouted. I'm here working. I can't be proving myself every day. Isn't that too much? Her voice became scratchy. Then she noticed a call from Philip, and her voice softened. Mike's crying and throwing up, she said into the phone. I'll call a cab and get him to the hospital right away. She fumbled with her phone, and suddenly a payment alert popped up from the cracked screen. A $500 bill flashed, more prominent because of the cracks. Philip's kid is crying so hard he's throwing up without milk, Lily said. If anything happens to Mike, I won't forgive you. After screaming, she went crying after Philip, out of the apartment, getting into a waiting cab with him. I didn't hear a single word about her concern for our own child. It's tough as a dad to watch your kid seem less important to their own mom than someone else's child. But my son couldn't wait any longer, so I forced myself not to think about what Lily said, and rushed to the hospital. As the elevator opened to the ward, I slapped my own face to prepare myself. My dad was still in a hospital out of town. Tim had this fever, and with Mom's health, I couldn't pile more on her. Just a few steps more, and there was my mom, slumped on the floor, surrounded by people. My grandson, Tim, open your eyes. Look at Granny. Come on now, she cried. So much that she couldn't even stand. The doctor hurried to hold her hand, but she ended up gripping his instead. Please, doctor, my grandson can't go like this. Try to save him again. I heard him calling for me, she pleaded. The nurse held her up, tears streaming down her face as well. Annie, we've really done our best. Your child's heartbeat stopped half an hour ago. My legs, which had been moving faster and faster, suddenly gave out. I almost collapsed to the ground, unable to process it for a moment. My son, who had just turned 2 and begged me not to leave before I left home, could never open his eyes again. Mom, I managed to call out, squeezing through the crowd to her side. At first, she was stunned, but seeing me, she began furiously hitting my arm. He was just 2, sick at home, and now he's gone, she said. I raised him from a baby, fed him formula. I even paid for the house. Why did Lily keep me from seeing my own grandson? Why did she kick me out? It's not her fault, Mom, I said. It's mine. I didn't think it through. I wanted to say more, but seeing my mom's red eyes, I swallowed my words. What kind of spell did she put on you? My mom cried, shaking her head. No job makes a kid leave after giving birth. As soon as she heard someone was pregnant, she moved in with her employer. Can't you see through her intentions? She coughed and waved me off when I tried to approach. Don't touch me. I don't have a heartless son like you. Mom followed the gurney away while I stood numbly by the hospital room door, staring at my son's frail body covered by a white sheet. He was so small. He barely ever went outside. How could I have been so stupid to trust Lily could care for him alone? As I wiped away my tears, my cracked phone screen lit up with a furious message from Lily. Why did you stop the payment? You know how awkward it was when I tried to pay and there was no money. You forced me to find a job, but then you're picky about me being a nanny. If you want a divorce, just say it. I could almost see the look on her face as she typed those words, biting her lip, tears in her eyes, acting like she was the one who had it so hard. 7 years of marriage, and every argument was the same. It didn't matter who was right. She never apologized. But this time, I couldn't let her manipulate me. This marriage where only I tried needed to end. After forcibly taking my mom home from the hospital, I got the death certificate and contacted the funeral home to pick up our son. The next day, that's when Lily showed up. She smelled of alcohol, having no idea where she had been. She tossed her bag down and yelled, "Why didn't you reply to my messages? Your phone was always busy." I had called her a dozen times before with no response. What right did she have to be mad? My low voice only gained her an icy look. Lily didn't want to talk. Instead, she slammed the door behind her, then stormed up to me. "Where's our son?" Had she suddenly remembered she had a child? I couldn't help but let out a cold laugh, and she yelled even louder. "Did your mom take him away? How could she walk into my house like that? David, go bring our son back now. I'm entering the top nanny competition in a couple of days. I need him for the photos." I couldn't believe my ears. Was she looking for our son just to take a photo? She snapped back. "What else? That little brat ruined my life. If not for the picture, I wouldn't even want him around." The momentary hope that maybe she had some maternal instinct left was gone, replaced by the rage and disappointment that made me throw a divorce agreement at her. "Lily, let's get a divorce." Usually the one quick to suggest divorce, she ripped the papers to shreds. "Are you crazy? Just for not giving him medicine, you're going to blow up like this?" Seeing my dark expression, her words got even more fragmented. "Our kid's always sick. He'd get a fever, and it would break in a while. It was like that for 2 days. What could happen on the 3rd day? I left just for a while. How dare you blame me?" So, our son had held on for 2 whole days. That's why he opened the door that last day, seeking help from our neighbor. That's why he was unconscious with a high fever before even reaching the hospital. "I won't give you our son, and I don't want to see you again. You're unfit to be a mother." I had never shouted at Lily like that, and she retaliated with a slap. "Well done. You've driven your wife away, David. You'll never see me again." The banging of the door hurt my ears. Full of rage, I grabbed a drink but remembered I had to plan the hearse for the next day and put it down. It rained lightly the next day. Mom looked at our son being prepared for burial and asked me, "David, have you told Lily? She's the mother. How can she miss seeing him one last time?" I felt terrible inside. I pulled out my phone but saw a video shared by Philip's wife. "Philip, he hit me again yesterday. I can't stay anymore. Your wife fights with you ever since having a kid, right?" Under the dim bar lights, my wife wore a revealing outfit I'd never seen. She looked so pitiful, with red, swollen eyes overflowing with tears. "We're both suffering," she said. "Why can't we be together?" Philip, clearly drunk, pulled Lily onto him. As she leaned in, enjoying his attention, she didn't resist. Her skin blushed instantly. Their noises were loud, and whoever filmed the video had shaky hands. Philip's wife said we should meet sometime. "What happened?" my mom asked nervously, watching me. "Did she say she wants to see him?" "No, she won't come." I looked at the video of my wife, then turned off my phone. Let's just say Tim never had a mom. For 3 days, we watched over his body, and even after he was buried, my wife finally came to me again. "David, where did Tim go? The nanny competition is around the corner. If I lose the job, your mom will keep yelling at me." She looked well, linked arms with Philip, making me seem more worn out. "David, Lily's only trying to help," Philip said. "Even if you're mad, you can't ignore your kid, right?" A third party had the nerve to bring up my son. I gave a cold laugh, turned toward the cremation site, and had no intention of responding. "David, I'm talking to you. Did you go mute?" Lily reached out to pull me, but caught a whiff of a strange smell from nearby. The person from the crematorium brought out the urn, indicating the funeral could begin. A friend who arrived late saw Lily and burst into tears. "You told me yesterday to help take photos of Tim, and today this happened. He's only 2 years old, Lily. He shouldn't have faced such a fate." Lily's face turned pale immediately. She started to wobble, pointing at the urn, and shouted, "It's impossible. Tim just had a fever. He couldn't be." "David!" Lily grasped my shirt, shaking, and screamed, "Did you trick me? Is this some act because I left him to breastfeed Philip's child, bastard?" Before she could finish, my mom broke down and wanted to throw her out of the funeral. "Tim was calling for Mom the whole time during resuscitation, and you actually left him to feed another man's child?" I always kept it from Mom, not wanting her to know that Lily cheated, but I didn't expect Lily to expose the truth in front of her. Lily couldn't hold herself up any longer. She kept saying, "It's impossible," and only started to cry when the security dragged her away. "My child! That's the child I carried for 9 months! Tim, I'm so sorry!" No one heard her regrets after she revealed she breastfed Philip's child. Even her closest friend couldn't hide their disgust. "Doesn't Philip have his own wife? Why does he need a nanny to breastfeed? Get her out of here before she taints the path for the child's soul." Philip got thrown out too. I addressed the guests. "I know everyone is angry and struggles to understand why Lily did this, but Tim is gone, and revenge will only hurt us more. I also urged everyone not to bring this up again." The guests nodded in understanding, adding an extra layer of sorrow to the funeral. That night, back home, my wife cooked her first meal since we got married. "David, I really didn't know," she said. "The house had surveillance. I thought everything was okay." Yet the sincerity was as misplaced as the heavy seasoning of the food. The food was too spicy for me. The juice was peach, to which our son was allergic. There wasn't a single trace of love left for this home. "Don't pretend, Lily. If not for what happened to Tim, you'd still blame him for your insecurities," I said. I left the divorce papers on the table once more. "You didn't want to be outshone by Philip's wife, so you'd rather have surgery than breastfeed. I knew, Lily, ever since you became a nanny, I just didn't want to believe that our time together would lose to a so-called love." Lily tried to serve me rice. In the end, she couldn't swallow her pride and threw the bowl down. "It was Philip who kept pursuing me. Why blame everything on me? If you had spent more time with me, given me more security, I wouldn't have cheated." Watching her tears fall, I played the video from my phone, turning up the volume. "Watch this, Lily. See what you were doing when you should have been with our son?" I slammed the table and asked, "Do you still dare call yourself a victim?" Lily's past sweet words floated through the room. She hung her head, sobbing quietly. "You never spoke to me like this before. We can have another child, but our feelings won't come back. David, do you really want to do this to me?" I almost laughed out of sheer frustration. She wasn't upset about our son. Her sadness lay in the divorce papers. "Yes, we're divorcing tomorrow. If you don't show, I'll share this video with everyone you know, with Philip's wife." After Lily stormed out crying, Philip's wife, Clara, showed up for our agreed meeting. She had aged significantly, with teary eyes. As soon as she sat down, she asked, "David, could you not divorce Lily?" Her request froze me in place. "Why? Philip cheated on you during your pregnancy. Don't you want to get back at him?" "I do, don't think I don't," she said, holding her fingers tight around her ring. "But not right now." "Why not?" Clara sighed deeply. "You know why Philip wanted Lily to feed Mike? Because he doesn't cook, and there's no suitable food for a 2-year-old at home. Mike grew up with me. The day Lily fed him, Philip beat me to a pulp and took the child." She wiped off her makeup, revealing bruises. Philip seems gentle, but drinks and turns into someone else. If I dare file for divorce, he'll likely kill me and the child. I'm begging you, help Lily get the child out before asking for a divorce." After thinking through the night, the next day, I brought the marriage certificate to the civil office. Lily was there too, no makeup, with heavily swollen eyes. "I cried all night, David. These 7 years you took care of me, gave me a happy life. I'm truly sorry. I'll work hard. I'll have another child for you. Can't we talk about the divorce?" I took the marriage certificate from her hand. Too late. There's no turning back for us now. Handing the documents to the clerk, she looked at the tearful Lily, letting out a few heavy sighs. "Here's the divorce registration. Mr. David, are you sure?" I signed the papers without hesitation. "Tomorrow I'll have movers take your things. I don't want any of it, not even the rings." Removing the specially designed ring, I placed it in her hand and left without turning back. But when night came, Lily didn't come to pick up her luggage. I guess it was her last stand. I thought so, not feeling the need to rush her, just living my life. I didn't expect that 3 days later I got an urgent call from the station lady. "Something's wrong. Your mom and Lily got into a fight, and she pushed your mom down." I took leave and rushed back home. Just as I arrived, Lily grabbed my shirt and pushed me in front of everyone. "They're cursing and trying to hit me. David, save me!" I hadn't even processed what was going on. Suddenly, the dancing ladies surrounded me, shouting and waving their fans in my face. "David, move aside! I'm gonna slap this little witch today. She's done nasty things and even hit people. Just try to hide again." I was confused. What exactly happened here? The lady closest to my mom shouted, "Ask her if she dares admit it. It's serious misfortune that Tim was reincarnated into your world." Lily, behind me, whimpered in a small voice, "Tim is my child. Seeing me suffer, he would surely want to help me." "Bullshit!" One of the ladies who started the fight couldn't hold it in. "You didn't even attend the funeral back then. And now, just for some traffic, you dared to dig up the grave and take pictures with the urn. For so many years, we've been afraid of disturbing the child, never even mentioning his name. For money, for fame, what wouldn't you do?" Tears welled up in the lady's eyes as she shouted. Yet Lily showed no shame, clutching my arm and muttering, "But I'm broke. Philip couldn't give me money. And David wants a divorce. What other way am I supposed to get money except to use Tim's death? I can't starve to death, can I?" I pulled her out from behind me. Lily's arms were still a bit chubby, but there were no rings on her fingers. Even if they depreciated, they were worth $40,000. Within a week, she sold every anniversary gift from our marriage, but still had the gall to dig up our kid's grave. She hit a new low for me each time. I stared at the urn tossed next to the flower bed, and for the first time, I raised a fist to her. "Don't stop me! Where's my grandson? He promised to visit Grandma today." Mom's voice broke my action. Dragging one leg, she pushed away those trying to help her, staggering over to Lily. "Wasn't it said that my grandson was coming today? How come it's just you two? Where's my Tim?" Due to a head injury, she suffered from serious intermittent amnesia. The doctor we invited home furrowed his brow. It was serious. Any further stimulus might cause secondary amnesia. Locked in her room, Mom was still calling out for Tim. "If possible," the doctor sighed deeply, "you'd better find a child who looks like her grandson and tell her the truth when she recovers." Dear husband, dear husband. Everyone was heavy-hearted, but Lily shouted excitedly, "Philip's son, Mike! He looks just like our son." Seeing a glimmer in my eye, she acted even more so, clutching my hand through fake tears. "I agreed to be Philip's nanny back then just because his kid looked so much like Tim. That's why I agreed. I know you don't want to keep going with me, so as long as you leave the marriage with nothing, I'll borrow Mike to cure your mom." My face darkened immediately. "Lily, don't push it." But she twirled her hair, warning me, Who told you to insist on divorcing me? You didn't appreciate the gesture, and now the property is mine. The old lady's illness can't be delayed. Don't let her go with her son." Finishing her threat, she tried to leave, but my mom's friend grabbed her hair. "No one taught you manners, so today I'll teach you a lesson." Aunties, championed as the top of the Sunset Dance Troupe, with the strength from her single-handed pull-ups, she turned Lily's face into a pig's head, fanning her until she fled crying. Rolling her eyes, she wheezed, then sat next to me and asked amusedly, "How did I do with my act?" The doctor pulled off his coat, and Mom stopped refusing to go to the hospital. We sat together on the sofa, blankly looking at the urn on the table. "Sigh," Mom sighed. "Tim, you've suffered." The argument was pre-planned. Acting like she fell and pretending amnesia to trick the child was the plan. Finally, with Tim's help, we found our chance. I seemed to see his understanding smile once more, touching in its maturity. I wiped away my tears and sent Clara the predetermined signal. Her reply came quickly, saying she booked the cross-province flight tickets. Everything was ready. I took out my phone and sent a message to Lily. "I'll agree to leave the marriage with nothing. Bring Mike over. Let Mom try if it can cure her illness." Lily replied promptly, "Okay," and soon sent the meeting location. It was on the second floor of a kids' play center. The space was narrow, hardly possible to snatch a kid away unnoticed. Lily sat against the wall, holding Mike so tightly that he cried. "The kid is here," she said. "When's the divorce paper going to be amended?" She was unusually tense, not budging till I put down the divorce papers. I had to place the document on the table first. The first time I met Mike, I scared him into crying. There's no way he'd go with me. No need to be so uptight. People occasionally looked over at Lily, afraid of being mistaken for a human trafficker. She finally put Mike on an inner chair. "Let me see." Watching Lily eagerly try to grab the papers, I quickly retracted them back into my bag. "Where's your document?" "What document?" Thinking she had things in the bag, Lily tightened her grip on Mike, visibly more tense. "The promise for Mike to treat my mom's illness." I wrapped my fingertips on the table atop the papers. "Otherwise, I'll pay and get nothing. If Philip doesn't give me the child, what then?" Lily hadn't thought of that. Angrily shoving Mike against the wall. "Why didn't you tell me earlier? I came here for nothing today!" Mike's head made a thud, and he immediately started bawling. "Don't cry, grandson. Grandma's here," I said as his mom quickly joined in the act, but I held her back. "Mike can indeed treat my mom's illness. Bring the documents tomorrow, and we'll come back." My words were cut off by the sound of vomiting. Mike was being strangled by Lily, crying so hard he couldn't breathe, then puking all over her. "Ah!" she screamed as she jumped up, ready to lash out, but noticed the disapproving stares from others nearby. After all, this wasn't her kid. Not daring to make too much of a scene, she carried him into the restroom, making sure we weren't leaving. We quietly exited the children's park with Mom. We circled to the airport, and about 15 minutes later we saw Clara holding Mike. Mom rushed over. "Is the child okay?" She gently touched Mike's head and smiled. "Thanks to you distracting them, it went smoothly. When people are really stressed, their attention drops significantly. Mom and I were just the bait. The plan was to make Mike cry and vomit, giving an opportunity to get into the bathroom. A disguised Clara was waiting there. As soon as Lily left him because of the mess, Clara slipped Mike into a moving bag. "Mike, Mama, sorry for making you suffer," Clara said, kissing his face. The boy who had been screaming just moments ago was now unusually quiet, holding on to Clara tightly and refusing to let go. "Let's get going. I'll handle the divorce. This is my hometown. I have friends and family here," I said. Unlike her, with no one around and only strangers to turn to for help. We watched as Clara safely boarded the plane. On the way, I picked up my dad, who just finished his hospital stay, and together we arranged Tim's grave. This time, I made sure no one would disturb our son's peace. Buzz, buzz. Just as I was about to eat, Lily called for the 10th time. Her messages were no longer just inquiries, they were raging curses. I didn't even care to look. I went to settings and blocked her. I thought this would finally stop her harassment. But I was wrong. She took it to the internet and made everything public. We dated through college to marriage, and after the divorce, I didn't get any money. Even my son's gravestone was moved without consent. I didn't mean to blow this up, but I had no choice, Lily cried online, posting Tim's death anniversary and memorial photos. I figured she was setting up to release fake videos to smear me. Suddenly, my social media was flooded with hate, and my family and workplace were swarmed by so-called justice warriors. While your wife is struggling, you're here with another woman? Shameless! What gives you the right to move the grave? Tim wouldn't want to be with a loser like you. Give Lily her child back. They shone lasers in my eyes. Female co-workers I barely talked to were throwing water at me, recording it. A whole bunch of influencers joined in, attacking me for views. With Tim's death anniversary coming up, I didn't want to argue, but Lily brought a mob and trashed the cemetery where Tim was buried. The chaos was terrifying. Nearby gravestones were covered in paint, insults to staff written all over. People held up Tim's photos, stomping on the headstones. Why can't the mother visit her son? You soulless corporate lackeys have no heart. You support a cheating deadbeat, you're scum. They followed Lily, threatening to expose the staff's cooperation with me. A crowd formed, an elderly woman throwing vegetables. We may not use the internet, but someone will stop you. What are you doing? I'm live streaming. Just try hitting me. Lily's camera fell, and I brought in some other families who couldn't stay silent anymore to help fight back. We were together for 7 years, Lily. I dragged her off, splashing paint all over her. Even though you were at fault, I didn't take back the furniture or money so you could have a living. But you know Tim's anniversary is near, and you stirred things up when my mom's grieving, inciting people to destroy the cemetery. Do you think you're doing right by Tim? By me? Lily went pale, but still she grabbed for the camera, pointing it at me. Look at him, my husband of 7 years. He wants to have trafficked a child. Now he's taking mine. How dare he ask if I think of him? I glimpsed at the screen, comments flying by. Parents of such devils deserve hell. How can you do this to a mother? What did you ever do for your child? You should pay for what you've done to those kids. Reading the curses, I hated myself for my upbringing. If I had just silenced her back then, she wouldn't have the chance to speak now. Dozens of us were taken to the station. Lily sat sobbing, pointing at me. I'm just too emotional. He already took one child. I can't lose another. The officers exchanged glances and split us up. What's this trafficking she's on about? I sighed, pulled out my phone to show them, and explained Clara's story. She successfully divorced Philip. She invited me for the holidays, happy to have me. Mike's 3 now. I gave him gifts, but his favorite was an old toy I never got to give him. Watching him zip around the room with a toy car, I couldn't help but think of Tim, who never dared raise his voice at home out of fear of Lily. I didn't want to disrupt the investigation, but talking of Tim, I just kept going. When I saw Lily again, the officer interrogating her frowned. You keep changing your story. Can you tell the truth for once? Her lies collapsed, turning her into the quickest joke around. The cemetery manager, our neighborhood neighbor, one by one, people stood up and criticized Lily much more than I ever did. At the time, I wasn't happy, just secretly placed flowers for Tim. Holding back tears, I whispered an apology. Because the paint could be washed off and no one was seriously hurt, Lily ended up being fined and detained. She was unwilling to leave when arrested. I don't want to pay. Just throw me in jail, she said, clinging tightly to me. Her torn clothes were stained with fresh blood. "I spent thousands for him but couldn't bring Mike back. Philip will kill me." She trembled. That's when I understood why she chose to risk everything. Even though she knew I had dirt on her, she feared getting beaten to death by Philip if she didn't act out. "Don't worry," I shook Lily's hand off with a cold scoff. "Philip, your beloved, won't kill you. Taking advantage of others' wives while pregnant, using your husband's money to cheat, and causing your child's death doesn't earn any sympathy." I pushed past her and walked out, only to find Philip glaring sinisterly in Lily's direction. His clothes were yellowed, reeking of vomit and booze. Clearly, after Clara and I divorced simultaneously, neither Philip nor Lily had the ability to support themselves. Their lives were now a mess. Lily also noticed him and, scared, avoided his gaze, accidentally bumping into a couple. "Watch where you're going, that's disgusting!" The girl clinging to her partner snapped, before continuing to demand gifts. Lily mumbled an apology, then froze, looking in our direction and seeing me staring at her. "David," she whispered. As if our 7 years together flashed rapidly before her eyes, Lily suddenly collapsed to her knees. "I was wrong. I shouldn't have caused Tim's death. I shouldn't have betrayed you. Can you forgive me? Let's start over. I'll work hard and take care of our child." But until she was put in the police car, I never responded. Clara, however, visited her once, carrying many photos of Philip drinking heavily. I didn't ask why, but I could guess she wanted Lily to get rid of Philip. My work kept me busy, my feet barely touching the ground. By the time I took another break, Lily's second trial had begun. "What's this trial for?" I asked, hearing rumors the station manager had been called to the police. "What else?" She cracked sunflower seeds, pointing to a building. "They had the area cordoned off the other day. It's intentional murder." That's when I learned Lily, since her release, had faced continuous harassment from Philip and had been used repeatedly, almost dying at home. Unwilling to accept it, she rented a car and ran Philip over a month back. "If you ask me, this girl is truly pitiful," an onlooker commented. "She was fine when with you. What drove her to pursue her so-called beloved? I guess it's a case of a youthful fascination that seemed dreamlike. She always remembered his good side, not realizing that everyone changes when life's mundane realities hit. Lily went to prison on Mike's birthday. I took my parents and Clara, and together we celebrated the stability and normalcy of our lives, blowing out the candles on the cake.